Shabbat Shalom to the Most High's elect of the household of faith. Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, Barakatha Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Kal Halal, Wahawad La, Abanawa Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Waha Rachaha Kodash. Double honor goes out to the elder apostles and the elder bishops and the elders at the Great Millstone, GMS, who rule well and who teach well, and salutations to the hopeful elect as usual. Abba Ratazah, which means Father willing. So Father willing, this lesson is edifying. So welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the channel if it's your first time around here. And yeah. Alright. Inspiration for this lesson is drawn from this article that you see on your screen from foxnews.com. And this was dated on the 19th of June 2026, the year of sellouts, apostates, and agents. Right now, today is Monday, the 29th of June 2026. Alright, so yeah, recent article. Yeah, you can see the headline: China's brain C-HIP breakthrough raises big questions. Okay, so the breakthrough that they are so proud of concerning the brain C-HIPs, right? We understand from the scriptures the left-hand false miracles that E was going to do, right? In terms of this technology, giving people the ability to see, giving people the ability to walk, giving the ability to people so that they can hear again, etc., etc. Right? It's all part of Bible prophecy. Okay, it's all part of what we're going to see within the last days of the last days, which we are certainly in. Invariably, this was not for the betterment of humanity. Rather, it was for the enslavement of humanity. This is for the enslavement of humanity. Okay, the elites, E, all right, they do not have your best interests at hand. Okay, right. This is not an upgrade. It's not an upgrade. It's a downgrade. All right. The C-HIP, whether it will be implanted into the brain or your arm, so you can receive, your so-called healings and become so-called superhuman, or whether you take it just to keep up with the system. Either way, it doesn't really matter. What matters is what E is bringing down the pipeline. Okay, and the will collapse the society, its economy, really. They're gonna collapse. This is what I'm trying to say. They're gonna collapse this, economy, the system. All right. Make sure it's digital. Everything will be cashless. All right, and this will be the new way of buying and selling. The C-HIP, the RFID, radio frequency identification device, micro C-HIP, NFC, near field communication. All right, C-HIP. Okay, but all roads leads down to the, to this C-HIP. Okay. Forgive me. Just put this on vibrate. I could put it on do not disturb, but it messes with my volume. For some reason I can't change the settings. Or at least I don't know how to. But anyway, yeah, you see, these are the guys out here that call themselves all kind of rich prophets and call themselves all kind of affluent individuals, right? They know who they are. These are the Israelite camps, especially when it comes to worldly possessions. Okay, they'll brag about that, but they clearly don't have the spiritual eye salve, right? The wealth and the knowledge contained within the Holy Bible. Okay. That's real wealth, the ability and foresight to see what's happening around you and coupling it with the things, stated within the scriptures, right? Rich in wisdom, rich in knowledge. All right. You see, of course, they'll have understanding of the scriptures, all right, to a certain degree. Okay. But those that are teaching that the MOTB is not the RFID micro C-HIP, or that it's, Christianity on embargo, or sleeping with women, they either blinded spiritually or they sold out, took the bag, You see? Let's go to the book of the prophet Isaiah chapter 33 and verse 6. I'll call that person back later. There was a time and place for everything, like the scripture says, and now it's the time to do this. Okay, this is important when we do videos like this. Okay, because everything is moving towards that. Everything is moving towards the tune of prophecy, and everything is moving towards the C-HIP being mandated. Man, we're so close. Okay. So Isaiah chapter 33 verse 6 reads, "And wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord Yahweh is his treasure." You see? Strong's H530, Amawana. Okay. Firmness, fidelity, steadfastness, steadiness. You see, and obviously, without fear, it's impossible to. Sorry, without faith, it's impossible to please the Lord. And we know fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom as well. Okay. Yeah. You see, so we will know how to maneuver in the times to come and be stable, right? And we understand and know why. Okay. Meanwhile, everybody else will be, going crazy, bugging out, losing their minds. Okay. We understand why it's happening. Okay. We know that the elect will not be deceived into taking the charagma. Okay. You see? Yeah. That word I got in the Hebrew, Amawana, was stability, I believe. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. You see? And, the Lord's servants are going to eat in that day too. Okay. Whilst everyone else is starving. All right. But yeah, these Federal Reserve notes, the Bank of England notes, the Bank of Jamaica notes, all right, etc., etc. That's not real money. That's fiat currency. Fiat currency has been created to create a debt system in order for them to take over, the people, which leads us right back to the topic at hand, the micro CIP. Again, all roads leads down to the digital all right? See, real wealth is gold, silver, land, cattle, tangible things, okay? Abram was rich in that, all right? You got your spiritual riches, this knowledge, this truth, and your physical riches like that, your silver, your gold, your land and things like that, cattle, all right? So let's go into the article, and I'll put the link to this article in the description box underneath as well, all right? Just underneath the title, China's NEO brain implant could help paralysis patients control devices with their thoughts, but the privacy stakes are hard to ignore. See, there's left-hand miracles. Privacy stakes. Yeah, they like to talk about this privacy stuff. You don't have any privacy in this new digitized world, especially going into the Internet of Things and the brain-body link that they will set up out here. No privacy whatsoever. You see, they have to push that to make you, so you can put your trust in them and really want to really make you believe that they're on your side. Nah. They sell your data and your information all over the place, right? Then you wonder why you get all sorts of random weird phone calls in the middle of the day or whenever, about telemarketer or PCP, right? Okay. And just random phone calls about other things, so on and so forth. And they will put these models together of how you think, of how, you do things and what you do. Let's go further down a bit. A coin-sized brain C-hip in China could help people with paralysis control devices using their thoughts. China has approved a brain-computer interface called NEO for commercial medical use in certain patients with paralysis caused by spinal cord injuries. That moves brain C-hip technology out of research trials and closer to real-world medical care. Developed by researchers at that university and Shanghai-based Neuracle Technology, NEO sits under the skull but rests on the brain's protective outer layer rather than piercing deep into brain tissue. That design could make it less invasive than some competing implants. Either way, it's still surgically implanted into the body, even if it's not gone as deep. Okay? But E, uses his sword. E being a so-called white man, all right? Salakia. E being a so-called white man, all right? Moab being the so-called Chinese. Now, even in history, you saw Moab, have, worked together and stuff like that. Okay. And they both we're still under Esau today in captivity, and the both nations have had us in slavery. Okay. But yeah, he is using his sword and his technology to take over the world. That's Bible prophecy. This devil is still, in control. Okay. For patients who have lost movement, this kind of technology could be life-changing. It could help restore a level of independence that once fell out of reach, but here's where we need to slow down a bit. If a brain C-hip can turn your brain signals into digital commands, we need to ask who controls that data, how well it's protected, yeah? See, once you have that inside of you, you're not really you, and they have all your information at hand, okay? They can control all your data and stuff like that, okay? Literally remote control. And, you know, for those, especially, you know, if you could never walk, it's going to be something like amazing to you for some, you know, for someone who could never walk, and then they have this and then that thing inserted into them and they could walk again, right? And then other people witnessing that, that's going to, you know, be like, oh, wow, it looks like it works. That person can walk. Okay. They were in a wheelchair before, they were paralyzed, and now they've got the C-hip, they can walk. Maybe I'm paralyzed too. Maybe I can get that, and, you know, a lot of people will be deceived and take it, you know, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I can walk again. Let's go to the book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 16 on down. And it reads, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Yeah. So a con man sells you a dream, yeah. So this is just a sales pitch, right? Same with how they will market the MOTB, the mark of the BEAST. Sell you advancements in humanity. Oh, this is the next step in human evolution. That's what they will tell you. All right? And the people that's comfortable in society will take the C-hip. All right? But yeah, celebrity is going to take it. They'll use them, you know, to advertise it, you know, to make it more presentable. All right? Homeless people, rich people, what have you. Old, young. All right? You can't, you know, buy and sell in society if you deny it. All right? Can't trade or anything like that. Can't buy groceries, things of that nature. All right? Can't top this and can't top that up. All right? Taxi drivers drive like they run the world, like they run the roads out here, man. Elam, innit? But yeah, a lot of technology is being developed for this, right? For the C-hip, and also to further it as well. Moab and E linked up, intertwined. They're all working together for the same system, the same agenda. China already has that social credit system operating. All right. There's more on the article, but yeah, I'll put the link in the description box beneath. Look at this. Yorkshire Evening Post. This was today. Pervert who made weird sex noises over Xbox chat with boy is jailed. A PDF file would make, open quote, weird sex noises, end quote, as he groomed the boy online. Weird, man. Weirdos. Even in the gaming world. 25-year-old was jailed at Leeds Crown Court. Put the link to that in the description box beneath. And look at this. Barclays and Lloyds join banking sector plan for digital ID. So, hey. All right, you got your central bank digital currencies, digital wallet, digital ID. It's all coming together. All right, all your information will be on that C-hip. All right, your medical history, your criminal history, all that will be on the C-hip. Barclays and Lloyds are among a group of top UK lenders working on a plan that would see customers able to use digital identification tools in their banking app. The collective of banks, which also includes HSBC, Nationwide, NatWest and Santander, are working with industry body UK Finance on a process where users' personal information will be shared with a third party to enable customers to complete a transaction. See, third party, all right? Personal information will be shared with a third party to complete transaction, you see? So the crack, you know, you see where it's heading? All your information they'll have. Yeah. Okay, look at this. Human organs and meat recovered in Islamabad sector. Funeral homes overwhelmed amid heat wave in France. At least 109 people have died in a single day in Paris, where temperatures rose above 40 degrees Celsius. This was on the 20th of June, yesterday. Yeah, man. Judgment's going out, man. State of emergency declared in central Kentucky after devastating floods. Unalive at least 4. End time headlines. Look at this. Lab-grown meat is now FDA approved in America, and Tyson, the supplier of KFC and Taco Bell, is funding the biotech making it. Here is what lab meat actually is and why. Yeah. Crazy. Nation of Islam leader Minister Louis Farrakhan's wife Khadija passes at 90. Yeah, a lot of things happening, man. Germany may soon raise retirement age to 70 and America could be next. End time headline. HARP, climate manipulation exposed. Brazilian university study concludes high frequency transmitter can trigger earthquakes, cyclones, and local heating. See? It's devil has his weather modification program. And that Venezuela thing could well be the cause of it. That Esau could have well called, the earthquake in Venezuela might have just been more than just a natural disaster. Yeah, he could have been behind that with his weather modification stuff. Central bankers warn AI boom risk global financial crash. See, so much happening, man. Everything, again, all roads leads to the MOTB. But anyway, I'm going to end the lesson there. I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom to the Lord's elect of the household of faith and a bad ball.